This works today. I'm so excited. Hey, Tytiana, we're going live any second now. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
I'm actually going to steal the shout out, make it a bit of a plug. I have a sci-fi fantasy comic that I'm working on called Starworld. It is in the process of being made, but there are a couple episodes up on Webtoons for anyone who's curious.
Well, let's do the
And
shout out to
Afrobot.
Starworld. Here we
Yes.
go. Hey guys, we're talking about something we have not covered before, and that is we're going to talk about moon charts and we're going to talk about stories and how they combine and how things are happening. And I'm curious to learn more and more about it. Tytiana Browne is our superstar guest today, and we're going to learn all about these amazing things. So, Tytiana, how are you?
I'm doing well today. A little jittery, but I'm excited.
I'm jittery too. We've got things going on around us. So, and wait, it's the day you told me that the moon is in Sagittarius. Is that right? Or
Yes, today the moon moves into Sagittarius.
okay. First of all, let's talk about the stories and the moon and all that kind of stuff. Tell me just a little bit about it, and then we can go from there so the crowd understands where we're at.
Um, so got a little shy.
That's
When
okay.
the moon is passing through the phases. Um, think about it in the stories we have been told about the moon, right? And
Mhm.
stories don't always have to just be things that are fiction. There are nonfiction stories. So some of these stories are based off the facts we know. We know that the moon controls the tides,
Yes.
has an effect over the water. We know the human body is made up of a lot of water. So when this uh, planetary body moves into a sign, um, it is believed that like the influence that it has on that also affects us and our environment, and the moon
Hmm.
more so, not just because of its relationship to how it manipulates water, but because the moon in the natal chart is considered to be, everyone knows their sun sign, um, but the moon is considered to rep your moon sign is considered to represent yourself when you're alone, or when you feel you're most comfortable, when you don't feel like you're putting up a face, which is your rising sign, and not necessarily when you're not who you are, but it's your sun sign is kind of like the goal of who you can be and what you're becoming, and your moon sign is like, but when I'm tired and cozy, I'm like this.
Uh-huh. So, would you say that the moon side is more personal, or what?
Yes,
How
and
are you phrasing
intimate.
that?
Intimate, I would say. Um,
Okay,
it definitely helps you get a view into your relationship with yourself.
okay. And are the moon signs? They're different than the zodiac signs, right?
Um, they're the exact 12 sign, the exact same 12. It's just the application and interpretation is a little different.
Okay. So
Mhm.
tell me about stories and how they connect with the moon signs now.
Um, well, as the moon moves through the zodiac signs, it's incorporating different energy. And the energy, how I basically interpret that energy and how I kind of use the moon as like a daily planner. Um, it's very much based off of the stories of those signs that it then moves through. Um, so, like for instance, mentioning Sagittarius earlier, Sagittarius is represented by a centaur. Uh, and centaurs in mythology, they love parties and things like that. Not centaur, Sagittarius also rules over travel. Um, and they also cover the thighs. So in general, this is like a movement, like a fiery, festive sign. It is like the movement of fire. And even though Capricorn kicks off winter in the sense,
Yes.
Sagittarius is the sign where we do most of our festivities. Like Halloween is stolen by Scorpio for aesthetic, but like Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, like all the things leading up to Christmas, like the planning and the meeting with people and the people you won't see on Christmas, so you make sure you see them before Christmas. A lot of that stuff happens in Sagittarius.
I think that's fascinating. Last time that you and I talked before we actually did the show, you had some of your stories that you're reading, and I thought it was fascinating. Can we pick out one of those and just give a little bit of background to the audience about that, and then let's discuss it.
Um, when you say stories I was reading, do you mean the last time I believe you were talking about stories I was writing? Is that what you mean?
Well, we were talking about the moon signs, and you
Ah,
were
yes.
reading out.
Oh
Yes.
no, I better understand. So you want me to
Yeah.
read my little blurb for Sagittarius? Okay.
I do want to read that, especially since I'm Sagittarius.
Oh, okay. Well, double up, double up. All right. Sagittarius, the archer, is the mutable or adaptable fire sign. I like to think of it as the movement of fire, the way fire dances. And like I said before, Sagittarius, depicted by a centaur, rules the liver and the thighs, doesn't mind being associated with dancing and partying. Sagittarius loves movement, and as such, rules over that involve action or that need movement. Sports, legal matters, publications, the truth, and travel, just to name a few.
So, what is it that is going to be good for me and other Sagittarians this month in this phase of the moon?
Okay, so to get more into the nitty gritty specifics of what it is, right?
Yes.
Um, so the moon is in Sagittarius, but the moon itself is in a phase called the waxing crescent. The entire kind of moon cycle, think of it as like a flower growing and then decaying back to soil. Um, so the new moon is like fertile soil, like it's ready to start. You can put the seed in there. And then the waxing crescent, which we're in now, is when a lot of like it, you can still plant the seed, but now that you've planted it, like it's the underground process that you don't really see, the water making the roots burrow into the thing, all the stuff before it starts to sprout out before the dirt. This is what we think of like the waxing crescent as. Um, sorry,
Okay.
sorry. A couple of years ago, I didn't consider myself like good enough to be talking about this stuff, and now I find myself in like a teacher position, and I'm just
Now
like,
you
what's
are not only good enough, you are teaching the rest of us, which is like amazing.
yes. Um, but yes, so it's in waxing crescent, and this is a time of that kind of the progress and the work that goes into things that is not always obvious or seen. It's like when you start to plan things. Um, is because I have my notes. There's no reason to struggle. This is why
Okay.
witches have shadows. Well, I remember everything
Uh,
when I can look it up.
I love that.
Uh, a constructive energy as like it begins the process of growing. Um, the waxing crescent is also associated with luck, and because like some seeds take, some seeds don't, you know.
So
So
when you
when you
say luck, you're talking about good luck, right?
yeah,
Or
fortune, I guess, would be a good turn of fortune. Um,
okay.
so if you combine that with Sagittarius, who is this mover, this traveler, the waxing crescent in Sagittarius, if you take the planning aspect of the waxing crescent and you combine it with the aspects of Sagittarius, you find it's a good time to revisit projects that you might have been having trouble with, as the constructive energy mixed with Sagittarius is a need for movement can kind of help you. Like I mentioned before, it's a mutable sign and it's an adaptable. Can help you like have that spur of inspiration to kind of adapt and move forward with things you might have been stuck with before.
Gotcha. So if there's projects, say, in my other businesses that I've put aside and I said, like, you know what, I just don't think this is going to go right now,
Mm-hmm.
this would be a good time to start to look at those again
Well,
and
yes,
say,
look at those again. This is a planning time. Like maybe you could like be even reconsidering it. Like, should this be something I reinvest into? Especially as this waxing crescent. It's only going to stay in Sagittarius for a couple days, and by Saturday night, Sunday, it's going to be moving into logistical Capricorn, who's all about like, yeah, we're going to get things done. So we're planning right now what is and isn't feasible. Ooh, I lost you for a second. Do you mind repeating?
Who should I be following right now? Or which sign should I be following?
Oh, okay. I lost you for a moment, so you're asking me which sign. Like your sound cut out. My bad. Right now on Friday into Saturday, the waxing crescent is going to be in Sagittarius, and then
Okay. That's
Saturday evening into Sunday, it moves into Capricorn.
okay. And then if I'm following my sun sign on the
Mhm.
zodiac and this, how do I combine the two to really understand what's going on in my life these days?
Um, so this is where I hit like the next, like, this is where I'm researching and finding out more about how it incorporates with different signs.
Hmm.
Um, for you as a Sagittarius, you might find that this moon phase is a bit more active for you because it rings to your sun sign. Like, this is a form of publication, and you've been having to adapt to some of the troubles
Hmm.
you may have had today. Um, and you might find that there's, I have my notes again. There's no reason. Hold
Okay.
on.
I think notes are all good. In fact, I use
Yes.
them all the time.
Mm-hmm. Uh, you may find like constructive energy because you were kind of asking about projects.
Hmm.
You might find some more constructive energy and like the things that Sagittarius rules that relates to you. So, like, if you do happen to work in the legal field, or your a publication is do with like spreading knowledge or facts, um, then you might find that it's like a more busy time for you. Like, to say, to build on Sagittarius, this legal aspect. If you're someone who is trying to rally more people to vote, yeah, today might be a busier time for you. You might be moving more. Those are like the kind of,
Those are the
I guess,
kind
the
of projects that I want to be
decipherings
doing.
that you do when you
Yeah.
combine those things. Yeah.
So if you had to sum up the moon signs and tell people, like, here's how you learn about these things, here's the things you should be doing, what would you say to them? What is it that you want people to take away from this?
With astrology in general, I even have that where it's like, this is so vague, you know? Um, it does come from a place of there's a lot to decipher.
Hmm.
It's not that it's vague to just try and catch you or anything. It's vague because this energy can influence people in different ways. Like, I was speaking about legal matters earlier. What happens if you're
Yes.
not a politician? You don't care about anything. You don't work in law, things like that. Maybe it's more of the party aspect of Sagittarius that is being heightened in your life this weekend, and that's why you can see when you're looking into things like that, it is a yes, find the bit that speaks to you because you are looking for your advice in what is basically like a big energy cast for everyone.
Right. Well, I want people to be able to get in touch with you. They follow you and talk about you and cool things like that. Let me see if I can actually do that on this device. And we've got um, a Starworld. Definitely want people to check that out.
Yes.
And you're also over on Instagram, right?
Yes. Burning
Okay.
Witches is where
And
you will
Brewing
find.
Witches. I keep thinking every time I hear the word brewing and witches together, I can't help think of toil and trouble. Bubble, bubble. But I'm guessing it's different than that.
Uh, maybe it could be a little bit of both. The
Okay.
brewing witches is just like it's an idea that people can come there if they're just like kind of curious, or if they know what they're doing, or if they're somewhere in between. Um, just making information accessible to like whatever level you are, and it's still engaging even though it's accessible, because especially as someone who had like gifted kid syndrome, I know what it's like to be like, I am zoning out because I kind of know this thing, as opposed to, yeah, you know this thing, but I presented it really well, didn't I?
Yes. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I've loved talking about this. This is the first time I've talked about the moon signs, and I might need to have you back on again to tell us more about it in the
Ah,
future. So,
I would love to.
okay. Thank you very much, and goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Uh-oh.